Richard, who do you like in this game? And let's start with Philly. Like, what kind of advantages do you think they have playing at home in front of this ruckus crowd in Philly?
What kind of advantages do they have? I mean, we take take the crowd, take the home field, take all that out of it. They have a ton of advantages. They got the better team. Now, that doesn't always mean anything, but if you just look down the roster, they're the better team. They got the better running back. They got the better offensive line. They got the better receiving core. Their defense has played better. Then you say, hey, they're at home. Now, do I think their coaching staff's better? No. I'm going to give my guy DQ the advantage every single time and twice on Sundays. Do I think they have the better Mike linebacker than the Hall of Famer, the All-Pro? No, I don't. At the quarterback spot, very interesting conversation, especially now that Quinn Mitchell, had the injury. We don't know what his status is for Sunday. Lattimore's there for the Washington Commanders now. I'm sure they'll have him on all day, always open A.J. Brown for majority of the game. You got our guy, Big Play Slay, who had a great game against the Rams last week. The safety position, I think, goes to advantage to Philadelphia, although I like Washington's safeties. D-line, Jalen Carter and the boys, again, I think that goes to Philadelphia. But again, as I said earlier, that last game, and I know Philadelphia fans don't agree with me, but I mean, what's new? When I watched the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Washington Commanders, Jalen Hurts got hurt early in that game. He was 1 for 4 for 11 yards or something like that, but got injured. Kenny Pickett played the rest of that game. Saquon did what Saquon does, had 150 yards, did his thing. Ball control offense. They scored 33 points, but it was the other guy on the other side that really had me looking very closely at the results of this game, because you know what it told me, Mitchell? And I said it, and I want to say I said it at the time in the podcast next day. Better be careful, because that game gave them a weird belief. Because I understand Jalen Hurts got injured and their offense wasn't the same, et cetera, but Kenny Pickett played okay. And you just ran the ball with Saquon. He ran the ball like he ran the ball the previous game, about the same yardage. He averaged 5.2, I think. He averaged 5.5 the game before when you played the Commanders. So it wasn't that much crazier. Is Jalen Hurts a good quarterback? Yes, we're not arguing that. But he doesn't play defense. And C.J. Gardner-Johnson went out that game. That's a big piece of that puzzle. Gotcha. But Quinn Mitchell potentially may be out this game. Big piece of the puzzle. His QBR, Jaden Daniels' QBR in that game, not his quarterback rating, his QBR, out of 100 was 96.2. They turned the ball over. Let me confirm this, because I don't want to lie to you. The Washington Commanders turned the ball over 5 times in that game. They gave it to the other team 5 times. They still scored 36 points. The most points the Philadelphia Eagles gave up all season to a rookie quarterback, same weapon, same everything. His QBR was 96.2 out of 100. The QBR puts a lot more into it than quarterback rating. It puts a lot more into it. He threw 2 interceptions and still was 96.2. I'm just saying. I'm not saying he has it all figured out. I'm not saying he played perfect. He threw 2 interceptions. But to overcome 5 turnovers and win that game with a rookie quarterback going against a roster that's better than yours, you could say Jalen Hurts was out all you want, and that's the truth. He was out. Is he going to stop them from scoring 36 points? Like, what, the time of possession? People say it's a time of possession ball game. Mitchell, they said that's why Jalen Hurts was important in that game, because it's time of possession, and they're a time of possession team. Can I tell you what the time of possession was, Mitchell?
Let's hear it.
The Eagles held the ball for 36 minutes, 18 seconds. The Commanders had the ball for 23 minutes and 42 seconds. So wait, the time of possession wasn't the issue. That wasn't that much different. It was skewed greatly to the Eagles' favor. and they still lost that game, Mitchell. And that's the part that gives me angst when picking the Eagles in this game. Remember when Jared Goff, your team, Detroit, had 5 interceptions in a game? Remember how good it felt to watch your team overcome that? That showed championship pedigree. This is a divisional game where all that could go wrong went wrong. And they found a way to win with a rookie quarterback. That's a team that's coming into this game, and I know that's what the tape that Dan Quinn is showing this team. Hey, this isn't something we can't get done. This isn't something we've never done before. This is something we could do. And even though they had the ball most of the game, we turned the ball over 5 times. Our quarterback threw for 5 touchdowns, and we won that game. That's what I'm saying, Mitchell. I got Washington.
And you know what? We have tape. We got receipts here if you want to replay that episode from week 16, because you're absolutely right. I mean, you called it, and we were talking off air, and I was like, well, yeah, they were without Jalen Hurts. You know, naturally the Commanders would win that game with Kenny Pickett. Yes, he can, coming in the game. But you said to me, hey, Mitchell, you got to look deeper here. What concerned me was the defense, and what I saw was Jaden Daniels overcoming a lot of adversity of his own. I mean, this kid is a flat-out stud. And again, we got receipts also. Our season intro, we said if Jaden Daniels can come in here and be a stud, the Washington Commanders could make some noise and get into the playoffs. And here they are. They're the only team in the league right now to have 2 playoff wins, or to have a playoff win, period, on the road. And they're going for number 3 on the road here again. But it's not going to come easy at all. This Philadelphia Eagle team, I feel like they've been knocking on the door of a Super Bowl for a long time. Last season, they were the reddest of red hot teams till about week 11 of the regular season, and then they started to taper off. And this year, they kind of regained that flame. And the addition of Saquon Barkley, the blunder and the gift from the division foe, the New York Giants, to the Philadelphia Eagles, is what I think could really tip the scales in Philly's favor. If Jaden Daniels is able to go into Philly and come away with this win, how historic would this moment be? Rookie quarterback entering the Super Bowl with a team that was picking number 2 last year.
It would be historic. That would be history. But he's the 6th rookie quarterback to start a championship game. But he's the first without a top 3 defense. That tells you something, Mitchell, and that's what I'm saying. Like, do I believe Saquon Barkley and the Philadelphia Eagles can beat the Washington Commanders? Surely. I was there on Thursday night when they played the first time, and they beat them. But I also remember that game being closer than the scoreboard showed for a lot of that game until Saquon Barkley broke that thing open. And that's the thing, Mitchell. Until Saquon Barkley broke that game open, and that's what he continues to do, makes him an MVP candidate, likely offensive player of the year, but they may give it to Lamar or Josh, whoever doesn't win MVP. I got you. But Saquon Barkley has been the heartbeat. He's been the reason they've won a lot of these close games. And when the game is in doubt, or it's close, or it's tied, and they're just, hey, they're spinning their wheels, bang, Saquon Barkley, 65-yard touchdown run, bang. Now all of a sudden they're up, they're comfortable, everybody's cheering, sigh of relief, and it's happened. Nobody's been able to stop it yet. You know, the Rams, again, they were in that game. It's a dogfight, it's a battle. Bang, 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 Saquon, bang. I'm separating this game. Oh, the Rams feel like they got a chance. You know, they're breathing life into him. Bam, Saquon, slapping his helmet. You are not stopping this man. If the Washington Commanders, and they have not shown the capacity to do it yet because they played him twice and he's had 150 in both games. But 150 is okay. 150. Hold him there. If you can hold him to 150, and it sounds crazy, if you can keep him at 150, you've shown you can beat him in that game. They beat him after he had 150. And Jaden Daniels played out of his mind. Maybe Jayden doesn't play out of his mind this game. Maybe the Philadelphia Eagles find some answers, find some game plans, adjust some things. But again, these mobile quarterbacks are an issue for defenses. It's not as simple as X's and O's and just draw up answers. It's going to be down to the Jimmys and Joes. And it sounds like Quinn Mitchell believes he can play. He's been limited in practice. But again, Kobe Dean is out. What is going to happen in this game isn't as black and white as people want to see, as want to say. on paper, the better team, Philadelphia Eagles, at home, veteran, guys have been in a Super Bowl, best offensive line in football, one of the best defensive lines in football, great receiving core, best running back in football, arguably. You know, some would say Derrick Henry. They debate that with somebody else. But I just feel like this kid is something special, and he's elevating. He's injecting a belief. You know, do you remember back in the day, video games, it used to be like the quarterback, when he's hot, it like raises the attributes of all your other players. And now 85% players are 95s and this and that. When a quarterback's hot, that's where he's at, Mitchell. He's elevating. He's increasing the overalls of the players around him. And I think that's going to be enough for them to win this game. And I know Philadelphia fans are upset with me. Find the hole in my logic. That's all I'm saying. Look, I'm here to listen. You can say, oh, you just hate on our team all the time. I'm just looking at the game that happened and what happened in the game. Now, Jalen Hurts is going to play this game. Cool. I got you. It's going to be closer than Eagles fans think. I know you guys want to say this is the same old Commanders or Redskins team that you're used to playing. It's not. Dan Quinn is a motivator of men. He's a leader of men. Be careful with this team. Do not be surprised if you watch your team not play the way that you used to them playing. If they win, congratulations to the Eagles. You know what I mean? Sirianni's done a great job, but I'm excited to watch this game. I'll say that.
Well, back to your point on Jaden Daniels elevating those around him, especially his receivers. Case in point, De'Ami Brown. I mean, this guy hadn't been anywhere the first 3 years in the league or whatever it's been that he's been there. And now the last 4 weeks, he's wide receiver 2 in Washington, and he looks darn good at it. And the other guy, kudos to him, because there's so many wide receivers in this league that are, you know, quote unquote divas, and Terry McLaurin is certainly not one of them. I mean, this is a pro's pro. He's weathered the storm of dealing with teams that have finished in the top 5 of draft after draft after draft. And if there's anyone in this league that deserves a top flight quarterback to throw him the ball, it's probably Terry McLaurin, and he's taken full advantage of it this year. The other big thing in this is they are division rivals, you know, at the end of the day. And you played in a very, very historic division rival NFC Championship game when you were on the Seattle Seahawks with the infamous, to the New York or the San Francisco 49ers fans, tip play. I mean, how motivating was it for you? Obviously, you're motivated to win an NFC Championship, but how extra motivated are you to make sure your division foe does not win that game and go on to the Super Bowl?
Well, I think there's definitely some added motivation, but there's added familiarity. So, you know, you may watch, you know, a team going against a non-division team. Maybe it's a blowout. Maybe, they just overcome by too much talent. But even when you have divisional rivals that you don't even feel like are evenly matched, rarely is it a blowout, because those teams just have too much pride going for each other, unless one team is just totally inept. But this is going to be a game of teams that aren't afraid of each other. They're not afraid. You know, the Eagles aren't afraid of Jaden Daniels. They know what he has to offer. They have experience with this team. They have experience with Terry McLaurin. But on the flip side, the same is true with the Washington Commanders. They don't have the fear of the Philadelphia Eagles or going into Philadelphia and trying to win this ball game. I think they believe they're going to be able to win this ball game. The last time they played them, they did win. And it was in Washington, not Philly. But the time that they played in Philly, they felt like they were in that ball game, a lot of it. You know what I mean? It ended up being a 1-score ball game. The Philadelphia Eagles ended up winning, I think it was by 8 points or something like that. And so it's going to be a really good game. And I'm looking forward to it. I'll have my popcorn in hand. I will have my feet kicked up, and I will have my notebook in hand, because I will be taking notes, because something tells me I'm going to be right.